Come along with me to see if I need a hip replacement. Yes, you did hear that right. I'm 21 and in need of a hip replacement. Since I was seeing a doctor I never met before, I decided to put on this lapis lazuli necklace. Some of the things that it helps with is confidence and speaking well, so I thought that would be helpful. Now onto what I have to pack in my backpack. First is this Brio for my asthma that I have to take at 12:30 every day. Next are these steroids for my asthma flare-up. And then I have to pack a salad because I have to eat with those pills. It's really important to eat with them. And the onion smelled so strong, it was actually crazy. It was the strongest onion I've ever smelled. And now I wanted to show off my new mini hand sanitizer. No one can stop me, and it's cute. I didn't know how it unplugged, but I got it eventually because we live and we learn. And now on to pack my backpack with me. First, we gotta put the hand sanitizer on the backpack. Next, the salad, and then the many waters. And then finally, my purse, because I get overwhelmed if I carry a purse, but I like to have it with me, but in my backpack. If that makes any sense at all, I don't know. That's how I work. And then lastly, for the mini pouch, aka my medicine pouch, I put the pills I'm on. And then I also put my Brio inhaler. And lastly, my albuterol rescue inhaler. Always need that. Always gotta bring that with. And that's my backpack. I feel like you would think having a small room equals it's hard to get messy. I think it's quite actually the opposite. I'm gonna show you the mess. Now we're all human, so let's not judge me too harshly. We're gonna start here. First, those are my old iPods that I charged and was looking at. That's really fun. Two, the mask I'm taking. Three, my air purifier because I have literally nowhere else to put it. Okay? I know I gotta clean that up. That's unexplainable. My bed. If my bed's not made, my room just looks bad. A random shirt from when it got really cold. The hamper that I need to put in the bathroom. Here, a few socks. A water bottle. Empty. And yeah. If you were wondering, she has something severely wrong with her hips. How does she get her shoes on? I'm going to show you right now. So first I have these insoles I just got off Amazon. They're supposed to help with osteoarthritis in the hips, and they do. They make it easier. And the hip I have arthritis in is my right leg, but to you, that's the leg on the left. For my good leg, I get on my shoe rather normally, just how anyone with working hips would put on a shoe. As for my right leg, your left, I can't cross it over how I did with my left leg, so I kind of have to manually do it myself while also trying to keep the insole intact and where it needs to be with the back of my shoe. That's also how I have to get out of the left side of cars, if you're curious. Now onto the doctor's appointment. It's freezing. I can't even say it correctly. It's freezing. It's so cold. Yesterday was 72. Today is like 42. That's not normal. The globe is warming. What I love about this car is look how much room there is. Girl, this is the seat up. I'm 5'6". Like, this is crazy. I have so much room. It's insane. I love it. I'm so grateful. Here we're at the doctor, and I had to take my Brio at 12:30 like always. And look at my hair. They don't call it the Windy City for nothing. This was actually insane. After the Brio, I had to spit like water out because you need to rinse the back of your throat because you don't want a throat infection. It can give you one. And look, the wind literally blows my hood up. That's how windy it was. It blew my hood up. Wow. It blew my hood up. Now we're at the doctor's office. We're going up. That's my dad. And here's me filling out a form. I had to fill out a little form, a little bit of information about myself. Well, mostly about my hip and how I got osteoarthritis, which I'll explain later in the video if you're curious. Oh, and something really cool is our doctor's office has a view of the city, like so close. I thought that was pretty cool. These are the pants I have to quickly change into because I'm getting an x-ray. Rate my fit. I knew I should have shaved my legs. I didn't. I was like, maybe I should. Forgot. Okay, kind of matches. Slay. I got my x-rays done. It was a standing x-ray for the first time. Normally I do laying down x-rays. I've done laying down x-rays since I was a baby, literally. That was interesting. It was different. It was a little harder, but yeah, that's what's been going on so far. And then next I'm gonna see the doctor. I have to keep the shorts on, I'm pretty sure. Oh, that was ugly. Okay, I have to keep the shorts on because I know he's gonna move my hip around because see, they put the buttons on, so I'm gonna have to lay up there and he's gonna see what it feels like. I cried. I sobbed. My face is red because I cried and I sobbed. Because it all hit me when she pulled up a Google picture of my hip replacement. So, I cried, I sobbed. And I'll give you more updates later. I sobbed, I cried again. And nothing's happened. Literally, nothing's happened. I sobbed and cried again. So if you made it this far, you might be wondering, Hannah, you're 21, almost 22. Why do you need a hip replacement so early in your life? Well, I'll tell you. So no, I wasn't a very flexible child. This is how I was born. It's also known as hip dysplasia. And in simple terms, that just means both my hip bones were out of the socket. So basically, I had dislocated hips from the jump. It'd be cool if I was just like a really flexible baby though. So you're obviously not supposed to have hips like that. So my doctor decided to put me in cast for I think like a year and a half to see if my hips would just form into the socket. Like when you break a bone and they put it on so your bone can form correctly. That's basically what they were doing with my hip. So after that, thankfully my left hip totally went in the socket and everything was fine and we didn't need to touch it again. I have a pretty normal left hip. But my right hip was being a little bit more difficult and that meant that I had to have surgery. It was a surgery to kind of like put the bone into the socket and I think to like make a better socket. I'm not 100% sure, but I know they took bone from, it's called elephant ears. It's like above your hip bone. They took shaved bone from that in attempts to try to get me a better hip. So thankfully the surgery worked to where I have a usable hip. I can use my hip. I can walk. But unfortunately, it also meant that my cartilage. Unfortunately, that meant my cartilage breaks down easier. So when I was 16, I was diagnosed with osteoarthritis in my right hip. So yeah, that's where we're at. And I decided to finally like see a doctor because after years of like becoming an adult, I haven't needed to go to the doctor because I've been like pretty fine. Like I have hip pains, I have hip aches and pains. But for the last 3 months, it's been like absolutely like it's gone to a peak of getting worse really bad. I was actually on a walk and my sibling also walks around and she saw me and she's like, I knew it was you because you look like a seesaw when you walk. She didn't say this out of ill intent. She just was describing to me what I look like. Don't come after my sister. And I was like, oof, this is not good. And I can't, before I was walking like, when I started my walking journey, I was walking like 12K steps a day, 10K, 9K. And then recently I've only been able to get to like 6K, like an hour in. I have to like sit down at some point, which is not good. So I was like, you know what, I need to go to the doctor. So that's the vlog you saw today. If you're curious about like what went on at the doctor, I'll tell you. So first they gave me an x-ray to see where my hip's at, what the joint looks like, and you can tell if you have like how bad your arthritis is. So they took a look at that, and then they also tested how much strength I have in my hip compared to my left hip. So my left hip compared to my right hip, and my right hip had way less strength compared to my left hip. Little embarrassing it was. But they ended up giving me 3 options. One is the most well-known option. You've probably heard of it. Your grandma's probably had it. Your aunts probably had it. Your uncles probably had it. A hip replacement. I've known basically all my life. I've known probably since I was like in my teenage years, like 13, 14, that I would need a hip replacement down the line sometime eventually. I remember it being said to me when I was younger that it looks like I would probably need one when I'm like 25 to 30. My doctor said today that no one needs a hip replacement. It's just about quality of life. I qualify to get a hip replacement, but it's not like heart surgery. Like you don't need, if you want to go on living with your limp, with your pain, you can do so. So that's when you saw me cry. I actually started crying during that because surgery is just scary, but also even though I've known about it since I was literally like 13, 14, 15, 16, around the time, defo at most like 16, it just like hit me when she pulled up the picture of the hip replacements, like Google pictures, and I immediately started sobbing about it. One of the reasons that I was crying was because surgery scares me. Like, not just surgery, but anything to do with the bone. I broke my pinky bone when I was younger, and I had to get just a little metal screw in it, and now it's stuck like this because I was terrified of moving it because there's a screw in there. Bones make my skin crawl. Anything, even like when I see I know you can't really see them, but when I see like my own collarbones a little, I get squeamish. Like it's hard for me. Bones are really hard for me, so that was just kind of scary just thinking about metal in my bone. Like that's like I'm still And then there was scared also, to think about it. As I was crying, there was like, why me questions, because obviously I was literally, I would say I was filled with fear in that moment. Like she wasn't about to put me on the operating table, but I was like, oh my god, my future, my hip replacement, what is gonna happen? Because I know eventually I want to get a hip replacement, but just thinking about it terrified me. And it was also those like, why me? Like, just like, why am I 21 years old and like needing a hip replacement? Because it's not just like, oh, she needs a hip replacement. It affects my daily life. Like, you know, it's not like some simple dyeing my hair. Oh, why do I need to dye my roots gray? It's like, I'm 21 years old and limp really bad, or I can't walk for too long. I can't wear heavy shoes. You know, I just can't do so many things because of my hip. So that was also one of the reasons. Actually, I wrote down in my notes, I said, I'm writing my script right now. I'm crying, actually, lol. So here's me crying while writing the script, because it also was just like, when I was writing the script or the outline, the body of this, it was just like really hard. And then I was also upset at myself because when I was younger, they gave me these stretching exercises to like build up my hip, to build up strength in my hip. And I was a kid. Obviously, I didn't want to do them. My parents tried to get me to do them, but my dad described child me as unruly. And that was what I was. So yeah, I didn't do them. And so I started like wondering, like, if I did them, would I have been in as much pain as I am now? Or would I have to have this conversation right now, still 21 years old, you know? So there was regret too. The second option that they gave me was cortisone shots. So that's just a shot that goes into your hip and it's supposed to help with the pain. But the thing was, I learned that those can only make you feel better for a few days to 3 months. It totally depends on the person. My doctor said that he usually gives those to like patients before they go on a cruise or before they go on a vacation, because they want to have a normal feeling hip while they're like having fun. So I totally get that. The big issue with it is that it breaks down cartilage. And as I told you before, I don't have a lot of cartilage. My cartilage is already not really there. It's there, but there should be more there. So I don't like that option at all. I think that's one of my last resorts. Again, if I'm going on vacation or something and I want to feel good for a while, I would do a cortisone shot, but it's not something that I'm going to keep up with because I don't like how it breaks down the cartilage. I'm greedy and I want to savor all the little last bits of cartilage I have left. Now, option number 3 is the simplest option. It's the option I chose, spoiler alert, and that's 3, is to live with it until you need option 1 or 2. Something that I found helpful in what my doctor said was there's no time too late to get a hip replacement. So I did choose this option because 1, I'm too scared to get a hip replacement right now. Like, I'm way too terrified. I'm not mentally prepared. I think I need to do more research as in like, what am I prepared for? What is gonna happen? And plus, I have too much going on like with my asthma right now and with the the cha-chings. So it's like I don't want to, and it's also not the best time, so it's kind of perfectly aligning. So what I want to do going forward is like physical therapy / the stretches that I needed to get to doing those and build muscle in my hip, because the doctor said for the hip replacement, like, you're gonna want to have like as much of a strong hip as you're gonna have. So I definitely want to build that up and go from there. So right now I'm just gonna live life, cry on days that are hard and appreciate days that aren't hard. I'm getting teary-eyed now, but the good thing is that I've never known what a normal hip felt like. Like, even at 8 years old, I had hip pain. So a hip replacement will feel like amazing for me. Some things that did scare me though is like the possible side effects of surgery. So that's like, you know, rejecting the hip. That's like my biggest fear, is like rejecting the hip. I don't think I'm gonna reject the hip. Praying to the Lord, praying to God. But that's just a little scary thought, as well as like what can go wrong. Like, I know I always try to look at the positives, but when it comes to myself, I cannot look at the positives. So if you get an oracle reading from me and you're like, look at the positives, just know that I also cannot look at the positives. But I'm trying my best. There's nothing else more for me to say besides, if you have good hips, enjoy them. Not even just good hips. If you have good joints, lucky you. I envy you. I envy you, and I will dream about stealing your good joints. I will dream about stealing your good hip and having it for myself. No, not even your good hip. I'll steal your cartilage. I'm the cartilage gremlin. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, if you made it this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. If you have any questions in regards to what I talked about, again, I'm not a doctor, but if my doctor went over it, I could tell you what my doctor told me. I could be a source of a source. You know what I mean? So yeah, I hope you're having a good day. Subscribe if you would like. Thumbs up if you would like. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. I'm trying to focus on this channel this year. Okay, thank you. Bye.